Cobra Kai has certainly won the hearts of fans all over the world thanks to its interesting storylines and well-choreographed fight scenes. The Karate Kid spin-off is now entering its 5th season, and renowned martial arts veteran Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has said that the late Bruce Lee would have loved the show. Why does Kareem think so? Watch this video to the end to find out how it all started. 34 years ago, Johnny Lawrence was beaten by Daniel LaRusso in the 1984 All-Valley Karate Tournament. Now, with Johnny in his 50s, he lives in a small apartment in Reseda, Los Angeles, as he is no longer able to afford the wealthy lifestyle he was known for in the past. The decline in his financial status was a result of the depression he suffered after he was traumatized by John Kreese's assault on him. During this time, Johnny turned to a life of excess alcohol and drugs to take the pain away. He also has a son from a previous relationship who he had since abandoned, also due to the illicit habits he had picked up while being depressed. Cobra Kai continues the story of Johnny, as well as the other major characters from the original Karate Kid. What's happening now? In Cobra Kai Season 1, Johnny loses his job after having a heated argument with one of his customers. But even as he was down and out, he was still noble enough to use his karate skills to defend his young teenage neighbor from bullies. The teenager asks Johnny to teach him karate so that he could be able to defend himself in the future, and even though he was reluctant at first, he eventually agrees to do so. This led him to reopen the Cobra Kai Karate Dojo, not only to help the teenager master the fighting style, but also as a means to relive his once glorious past. However, reopening the Cobra Kai Dojo reignites the age-long rivalry he had with Daniel, who is a 2-time All-Valley champion and now the owner of a successful car dealership franchise. Daniel is also now married to Amanda, who is a co-owner of Daniel's car business. They also have 2 kids together, Samantha and Anthony. In an ironic fashion, Daniel, who used to be broke, is now living the luxury life, while Johnny, who used to be rich, now lives a below-average one. But even with his wealth, Daniel still struggled to come to terms with the death of his close friend and mentor, Mr. Miyagi, and this later causes him to disconnect from his kids and experience a sort of imbalance in his personal life. Meanwhile, Johnny's newly reopened dojo had started attracting kids who were faced with bullying problems, and this begins to give his life meaning once more. What does Kareem Abdul-Jabbar think about Cobra Kai? Cobra Kai has such a great story, which is being watched by tens of millions of people around the world. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is one of such followers of the show, and he has said that even the legendary Bruce Lee would have enjoyed it as much as anyone else. It would interest you to know that Kareem was a former student of the late Bruce Lee. He was also his close pal, so I guess that's why he has a fair idea of the kind of show he would like. In an interview with THR, Kareem stated that he had been following the show and he thinks it's really good. He also says he thinks of Bruce Lee anytime the show is on, and he gave his reasons why he thinks Bruce would have loved it. Why does Abdul-Jabbar think Bruce Lee will like Cobra Kai? In the same interview with THR, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said, and I quote, "Bruce would have loved this reimagining because he saw martial arts not just as a way to defend against enemies, but as a way to defend against one's own self-destructive impulses." He also said that Bruce believed that martial arts heals, as it helps one to identify their life problems and solve them. This belief is evident in Johnny's story, as he went from being a depressed drunk to finding himself again after reopening the Cobra Kai dojo. Kareem also said that besides the philosophical lessons that were taught on the show, Bruce would have also loved the humor that was on display. He said, and I quote, "Bruce, who had an extensive library of philosophy books, would appreciate the attempt to teach these values to a young audience. Bruce, who also appreciated humor and was quite the jokester, would have loved that the show didn't take itself too seriously. In fact, it is much funnier than the movies." Does Kareem Abdul-Jabbar think Bruce Lee will like the fight scenes? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is certain that Bruce Lee would have loved Cobra Kai because of the lessons taught and the humor, but what about the fight scenes? Well, according to him, Bruce might have quibbled with the portrayal of the actual martial arts moves, but he quickly said that it wouldn't matter to him because the other elements of the show outweigh the fights, and that would have been good enough for Bruce. For the younger fans who don't know who Bruce Lee is, the late actor was one of the greatest martial artists of his time and probably of all time. His slender, well-chiseled physique, his unique fighting style, and his high-pitched screams during his fights can never be forgotten by his fans. Among his most popular movies are Game of Death and Enter the Dragon. Other related news. Now that you know why Kareem Abdul-Jabbar thinks Bruce Lee would have loved Cobra Kai, let's move on to some other interesting news about the show. We'll be looking at the rumors of a Karate Kid multiverse and how the hero stories will play out in Season 5. Keep watching. Will there be a Karate Kid multiverse? Cobra Kai Season 5 premiered on Netflix on September 9th, 2022, and as expected, fans are loving it just as much as they loved the previous 4 seasons. To add to the excitement of the new season's release, Ralph Macchio himself has teased fans about plans to expand the Karate Kid universe by dishing out a long line of spin-offs. Speaking in an interview with comicbook.com, Macchio said that he had enough spin-off ideas to keep the Karate Kid franchise running until the next century. This will mean a lot of shoots, editing, traveling, writing, and so on. Let's not forget that for this to happen, a lot of new characters will have to be thrown into the mix, while some who are currently signed on may choose to leave in the future. It will be interesting to see how he goes about this, being that the creators are always on a tight production schedule. Nonetheless, as long as the fans keep enjoying the show and as long as the producers can keep to their schedules, then a Karate Kid multiverse is not impossible. Cobra Kai is already a reality, and going by what Machio said, there's every chance that some of the major characters on the show will have their own separate stories. What's next for the Cobra Kai heroes and villains? From the Season 5 preview, we can tell that there'll be another 2-esque road trip, but this time it will be Johnny and Robbie instead of Daniel and Mr. Miyagi. The father and son will be heading to Mexico in search of Miguel. Speaking of which, we expect that the Karate Kid Part 3 villain, Mike Barnes, will turn out to be Miguel's dad, and one of the reasons we suspect this is that Barnes has been confirmed to make a return in Season 5. As for Silver, the character has gone back to his old and aggressive ways from the 80s, and there's every possibility that he'll be the endgame villain for Season 5, as he plans to turn the entire state of California into his personal Cobra Kai dojo. However, you can bet that Daniel and Chosen will do everything they can to stop Silver from accomplishing his mission. Hilary Swank is also expected to make her debut as Julie Pierce and help Daniel in his fight against Silver and Barnes. And as for the future of the Cobra Kai dojo, we believe that it will still continue to thrive even as Silver and Kreese are gone. Besides Machio, the other producers of the show continue to talk about a Karate Kid multiverse, also known as the Miyagi-verse, and this means we can expect to see different characters branch into spin-offs. One of the producers, Hayden Schlossberg, has said, and I quote, "We have an end in mind. How many seasons it takes to get there, we don't know. We're enjoying making it so much. If it gets tiring to us, we'll stop before that. We have a few more seasons already planned out." With that being said, fans can expect so much more Karate Kid-inspired content in the near future, and, as Machio said, into the next century. Let's wait and see. So guys, do you agree with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar about Bruce Lee liking the Cobra Kai series? Let us know what you think in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this video, please tap the like and share buttons. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you'll know exactly when we upload new and interesting videos like this. See you next time.